What's up? Welcome to Updates with Mr. Warford. This is for my AP Human Geography people. Alright, so free response question. Should you choose to sign up for the AP exam at the end of the year and try to get college credit, you will be required to do multiple choice and free response questions. In Unit 1, for my class, we only did multiple choice because today we're talking about how to be successful with FRQs. But going forward, for every one of our unit exams, you're going to be responsible for multiple choice and FRQs so that we can practice for that AP exam at the end of the year. So the typical AP exam as of 2020, you're going to take 60 multiple choice questions. You're going to have an hour to do that. And you're going to have 3 FRQs, and you're going to have an hour and 15 minutes to do those. Something to keep in mind that as of 2020, they changed the format of FRQs. It used to be FRQs were worth differing point values, and even within the same question, like let's say there was a question that was number 1 was A, B, C. B could be worth more points than C, and they varied per question. Now they've changed that. Each FRQ is 7 parts, and each part is worth 1 point. So essentially, you are answering 21 short answer questions that are all worth 1 point. A pro of that is it takes a lot of the guesswork out of trying to figure out how many points each question is worth. A con is that you really need to have good time management skills, and we're going to practice that. So, an example of the old format. Here we go on number 1. It has 3 parts, and typically each one of those parts would be worth a differing amount of total points. Okay, so C could be worth 3 points, A could be worth 1 point. It just depended per question. Now they've changed it where it would look something like this. A through G is worth 1 point each. Okay, so 7 points total, 1 point per part or letter A, B, C, D, all the way down to G. And you have the opportunity to show what you know and show that you understand how to answer that question, and you get a point. And if you cannot successfully do that, you don't get the point. So one thing that's important to keep in mind is to know your verbs, okay? Identify, define, describe, explain. You guys have seen these before because you've been in school long enough, but we definitely need to look at those and know what those mean for FRQs, because that could be the difference between getting a point and losing a point, okay? Here's an example. So if I were to talk about ice cream, okay? If I were to say identify your favorite type of ice cream, that's just saying, tell me what your favorite type of ice cream is. And I would say mint chocolate chip because that is the best. And if you don't agree with me, you're wrong. Define ice cream. So I would tell in very specific and basic terms at the most basic level, what is ice cream? A frozen food made with sweeteners and flavored milk. So there you go. Describe, so paint a picture with words about your favorite ice cream. So you'll notice here, I talk about the color, I talk about the texture, I talk about the taste. Explain the difference between your favorite type and another type. So I'm going to have to make something clear about the differences between mint chocolate chip and I chose vanilla. So you notice that depending on the verb in the question, really depends on what you're answering and what the reader is learning about and seeing. Success for FRQs comes with practice, okay? We're going to be looking at maps, charts, graphs, because they're going to throw some of those at you on the AP exam, and we want to be prepared. But it comes down to knowing your vocab and being able to make connections. When I show you that course description PDF for each unit under essential knowledge, and I say, be able to explain this and give an example, that's where this comes in. Because you may see an example that you've never seen before or we never read about. But if you can use your context clues and you know your vocab and you can make connections to content, then you can successfully answer it because you may see an example that you're not familiar with. So if you can make a content connection, you'll do well. So tips and advice. Read the whole question, okay? I cannot tell you how many points I've taken off for FRQs in my class for our unit test because people forgot to answer the whole question, especially if you see a question that says identify and describe, okay? And I've been guilty of this when I was a student as well, of just identifying but not describing. So if I were to say, if we were just talking and I were to say, what's your favorite movie? And you said, Fast and the Furious. You identified it. You successfully identified. Now, if I walked up to you and said, describe your favorite movie, and you said, The Fast and the Furious, and I said, no, I meant like describe it, like tell me what it's about, who's in it, like what's the plot, and you said, Fast and the Furious, and I said, but I said describe Fast and the Furious. Okay, I would need you to get professional help, because I'd be like, what's happening? Don't let that happen in your writing, and we've all been guilty of it, but try to remove those mistakes from your FRQ taking, okay? So make sure that you read the question. Don't write in a long narrative form, okay? This isn't an essay. You're essentially answering short answer questions. So you don't need a thesis, a conclusion. It's not a persuasive essay. You're showing in a concise manner that you understand the question and you can show what you know, okay? You're going to hear me say that a lot, show what you know. So remember to write in a concise way, but you're still writing in complete sentences. Never put bullet points or like key words. You're still writing in complete sentences, but you're trying to be as concise as possible. Okay, write as if the reader doesn't know the content. A lot of times people write as if they're writing to the teacher in everything that they do, which makes sense because, you know, if you're in Mr. Warford's class, you're writing to Mr. Warford. But on the AP exam, you're not writing to me. So you need to make sure that whatever you write, anyone could understand it. Okay, don't take into account that how I grade or how somebody in one of your classes would read this and understand it. You don't know who's going to be grading your AP exam, so you want to make sure that any person off the street could read that and say, okay, I get it. And I put more tips and advice in a Google Doc in Google Classroom for you. So our goal, bottom line, why are we doing this? Why are we talking about this? We want to be able to do well on FRQs by providing enough detail to answer the question correctly and show what we know, but we want to do it in a concise way. We don't want to have a lot of fluff. And that takes practice, okay? And we're going to practice throughout the year. So we're going to do practice FRQs that are graded. We're going to do some ungraded practice. We're going to do some FRQs for exams. We're going to look at student responses and see the differences between good responses and ones that need a lot of work and didn't score as well as the others. So we're going to do a lot of practice, so don't worry, you're going to be really good at FRQs by the end of the year. Today we've got an assignment where we're going to look at some student samples. If you have any questions, let me know.